All right, guys. So here is our House on Mango assignment with Cami. So just really quickly how to access it. Again, I'm in Google Classroom. You're going to click on Cami or on the document. It's going to come up as a PDF. And then you're going to open with and annotate with Cami. Hopefully all of you have this already. If not, you need to come to Connect More Apps, search the app, and then you can see mine's already connected, but you're going to connect it and then it will go. Okay, so I'm already open with Cami. If it asks you to sign in, just sign in with Google. Okay, that's how you're linked, is with your Google accounts. Sometimes it takes a little while. And then if you have this, you want to run OCR. I don't actually know what OCR means. I just know that it lets us annotate our text, which is what we want to do. So in this video, I'm going to talk you through what is going on and kind of model how we're annotating. Okay, so as I said in our Zoom today, our stories are never what it seems, right? So there's always more information that we are wanting to get from our story. And that's where annotating comes in. Excuse me, guys. That's where annotating comes in, okay? So every time you're getting a short story, that's what I want. But we are working with My Name, the excerpt from The House on Mango Street, which is, here's the book title. Let me show you, or what the book is. I have it in my library. Here's the author. But this is The House on Mango Street. I really like the cover. And we're learning about her name, okay? So as I will talk you through this, I want you just to be annotating as I'm annotating, okay? So you're going to turn in the annotation from what I am teaching you now. I'm going to guide you through it, okay? So we have my name. I'm going to come to this markup tool here. If you look at our left bar, we have a markup tool. You're going to click on that. You can use either the text highlighter or the box highlighter. Doesn't really matter. I think, oh, or you can use the comment. See, I'm learning too. But I don't want this now. So we'll go through. You can pick whatever color you like. I've been really feeling this like teal blue and kind of like that today. So now let's get going. In English, my name means hope. In Spanish, it means too many letters. All right, I want us to highlight this because this shows us, see how it comes up with the comment box, that it has a complicated relationship with her cultures, right? So we can identify, remember, cultures like traditions, background that you come from. And so she has some complicated, she's not really sure. We get that right away, right? So in English, my name means hope. In Spanish, it means too many letters. Right now, maybe more positive. With English, we this is just gonna guide us, this question. So annotating is really just breaking it apart, thinking, okay, what is happening here? Okay, so this is more of a question. I know she has a complicated relationship, maybe more positive with English, just because what she's telling me here. Okay, there's my comment. It means sadness. It means waiting. It is like the number 9, a muddy color. It is the Mexican records my father plays on Sunday morning when he is shaving, songs like Sobbing. So I want us to, we're not going to write a comment. So sometimes you're going to write a comment with your annotations, sometimes you don't need to. So for this, we just need to highlight an important part, okay? I'm going to go back to this. I want us to highlight sadness. I don't want it to be that color. See, so you can go change it. I don't want it to be that color either. If you guys are like me, you'll spend a lot of time picking your colors because it's very important. Okay, that's better. And this is a little too light. All right, there we go. A muddy color. No, I don't want all that. Oh, delete. Sorry, guys. A muddy color. Songs like sobbing. So again, we're not gonna write, we don't need to write anything in our margins. We're just gonna mark and note that this here, the tone is kind of sad, right? And we get that from these excerpts and these words. Okay. It was my great grandmother's name, and now it is mine. All right. So I want you to think about, we're going to come to our comment. I want you to think about how a lot of the times when you're named after somebody, you have this legacy, right? That you essentially have to live up to. Whether you think so or not, or whether you're meant to or not is besides the point, but you kind of just feel like you do. Okay. And I think that's really important for us to know as we understand Esperanza. So I want us to say in our notes that we have legacy or often a shadow, right? Esperanza is living in her grandmother's, or her great grandmother, excuse me, her great grandmother's shadow, right? So it's kind of just saying, she doesn't really feel like herself. So let's write that too. Oops. Okay. So she doesn't really feel like herself. It's her great grandmother's name. All right. Now let's read the rest. She was a horsewoman too, born like me in the Chinese year of the horse, which is supposed to be bad luck if you're born female. But I think this is a Chinese lie because the Chinese, like the Mexicans, don't like their women strong. All right, there's a lot happening here, and that's why it's really important for us to annotate our text because we really want to know what is our author telling us. What is our protagonist, Esperanza, trying to say with this? So there's some prejudice in here, right? Some stereotypes. Let's break it down. And remember what I said, that you don't have to agree with what your character is saying. In fact, sometimes you won't. We need to understand, why is she making this comparison? Why did she include this in her narrative? Okay. So when you think of a horse as an animal, we think of someone who is strong. Oh, strong, free, powerful. So she's just comparing her grandma to a horse, but in a positive. This is positive, right? Let me change my colors again, guys, because I like it. All right, there you go. All right, let's break it down more. So born like me in the Chinese year of the horse, which is supposed to be bad luck if you're born female. But I think this is a Chinese lie because the Chinese, like the Mexicans, don't like their women strong. All right, we need to highlight this whole thing. Well, not the whole thing, but like this whole section here, because we need to put some thoughts. So Chinese, I don't, sorry. Women during this time did not have many options, okay? So a lot of times, not a lot, but in this day and age, I would say like this is probably set in like the 1940s, 1950s. Women didn't have a lot of options, especially before then, right? So a lot of them were, their only choice really was to get married. Um, and sometimes it wasn't even a choice. That was just kind of what they were expected to do. And so what Esperance is saying here is she's not meaning to say negative things. She's saying that these two cultures don't like to have strong women, right? That's how she feels. Now, whether or not this is true, is not what we're looking at, right? We acknowledge this is a stereotype. We're also acknowledging that Esperanza feels like she's saying this to make some point. So that's what we want to put here, okay? Other than to get married. So we just need some background for that. And then, let's move on. My great-grandmother. I would have liked to known her, a wild horse of a woman, so wild she wouldn't marry, until my great-grandfather threw his sack over her head and carried her off. Just like that, as if she were a fancy chandelier. That's the way he did it. So this sounds really intense, right? It sounds like he's kidnapping her. And he doesn't really actually kidnap her. What Esperanza's point is saying is that her grandmother didn't have a choice. Okay? Didn't have a choice in her marriage. Okay? She kind of was just expected. This was what was expected of her. Okay? And that's what we say. So, like, her great grandfather threw a sack. Not really. It's just a figure of speech, right? She's saying that basically, her great grandmother didn't have a choice, and this is the way it was. Didn't matter, right? So hopefully this is making sense of how sometimes our characters. That's why it's really important for us to break down our work because we want to really know what's being said. Okay. Okay. And the story goes she never forgave him. She looked out the window her whole life, the way so many women sit their sadness on an elbow. I wonder if she made the best with what she got, or was she so sorry because she couldn't be all the things she wanted to be? Esperanza. I have inherited her name, but I don't want to inherit her place by the window. So this is a lot too. I want us to come here and we're going to highlight. And remember, you're doing this with me as I'm teaching you through this on your own copy because you're going to turn this in. She looked out the window her whole life, the way so many women sit their sadness on an elbow. So she looked out the window is basically just a way to say that she watched her life pass her by. Oops. She watched life pass her by. Okay? She didn't really, she kind of saw all her hopes and dreams kind of pass by the window. All of her hopes and dreams. And as you guys, when you get in the habit of annotating yourself, I want you to go through, I want you to talk to yourself like I'm talking, like, what is this saying? Or, okay, I think this is what it's saying. Because that's how we process it, right? That's how we're able to pull that information out. So, I also want us to highlight this last part. Here, Esperanza. I've inherited her name, but I don't want to inherit her place by the window. Now, this is just telling us that Esperanza wants a different fate than her grandmother, right? She doesn't want to only get married. She wants to have more options. Wants a different fate from her grandmother, great-grandmother. So we don't get that the first time we're reading this text, right? We miss a lot of information, and that's why it's so important for us to go through and annotate and dissect what it is that we're reading. We're breaking it apart. All right, so what's a different fate from her grandmother? So I feel like her name, this kind of leads up back to what we had said. What happened to it? Aw, I deleted it. Okay, sorry guys. Once a different fate from her grandmother. Okay, I spelled different wrong. Let me fix it. And this kind of goes back to what we noticed up here, right? When we look at her name, it was my great grandmother's name, and now it is mine. So we talk again about this legacy and the shadow that Esperanza's feeling. And here we have it, like she's solidifying that for us. So she's telling us, I don't want my grandmother's fate. I don't want to just be a wife. I want to have more. I want to have options for me. And then here's our last two paragraphs, so we're almost done. At school, they say my name funny as if the syllables were made out of tin and hurt the roof of your mouth. So I want us to look at this too, because if we are, it's harmful to mispronounce names. Oops. Names can negatively impact our identity, right? And remember when we first started our identity unit, that's what I asked you guys. I said, okay, well, how many of you have to have a different name, or you give yourself nicknames or whatever it is because people don't say it right? And think of how that's harmful to us, okay? And then let's keep going. But in Spanish, my name is made out of a softer something like silver, not quite as thick as my sister's name. So she uses the word softer. She uses the word, let's go to our markup because we don't need to make a comment here. She uses softer. She uses silver. And those words are positive adverbs. She's describing her name in a positive way. Versus here, Magdalena, which is uglier than mine. Magdalena, who at least can come home and become nanny. So again, that's interesting, this uglier than mine. We don't need to make a comment. We're just going to highlight it. But I'm always Esperanza. All right, now your job before Zoom and for this assignment is you're going to talk about this last paragraph. I've modeled exactly what I want you to do with our annotations. I've talked you through it. You should be able to walk through this. I want you to take a guess. You don't have to get it 100% right. That's not the purpose. It's just that I want you to be able to read through this. Okay? I'm going to give you some clues, so make sure you're listening. I would like to baptize myself under a new name, a name more like the real me, the one nobody sees. Esperanza as Lysandra or Maritza or Zizi the X. Yes, something like Zizi the X will do. So, I have 3 annotations here that I want you to see. I want you to think of this word here. What does baptize mean? Why did they include that? What does that tell us about our main character? So I'm going to just highlight what I want you to look at. And then you are going to annotate it. You're going to analyze it. A name more like the real me. And something like ZZ the X will do. I want you to say ZZ the X. When you think of ZZ the X, what do you feel? And then Esperanza, her name is a little softer and silver. And then ZZ the X. Why does she relate more to that? And that's your assignment. So make sure you have all of these annotations, and then you're going to annotate, or you're going to comment on what I highlighted in this last paragraph. All right, guys. I look forward to seeing your thinking.